Good afternoon, glitter goddesses. Happy Tuesday. Welcome, glitter gang, to a surprise show. This is more of the baby album, the Easy 6x8 baby album. My desk is a mess because I was working on it, and then I thought, if I'm going to be working on it, I'll just do a show. Let's just do a show. Let's just see if we can get it done. That would be cool. I don't know if it will be possible. I hope it will be possible, but I'm not sure, so we'll find out. Let me pop out the chat. I don't even have a chat. I'm obviously, clearly, I'm organized. I'm organized as usual. So let's go. So, all right. Good afternoon and welcome, Priya. Happy birthday. Welcome, Antoinette. Hi, Kimberly. Margaret Ann has snow. Oh my gosh, Margaret Ann, my condolences on your snow. Venancia, welcome to you from Tacoma. Hello, Cindy. Vesta, aloha. I was gonna say, I wonder what is it? Let's see, Canada, Hawaii 6 hours behind. So it's not too early. It's not too early for Vesta. Flo, hi, how are you? Shaka, hello. Greetings to Sandra and Zahir. Good afternoon, Skinny Cat. Hi, Crystal. Hello, Jean. How are you doing? Howdy to Mini Album Scrapper. How are you all? All right. So, this is part of a series. I think this is part 4 or 5 in the series where I'm working on an Easy 6x8 baby's first year album. So, it's not a baby album in the sense that it's intended to record all of the photos for that baby and everything, all the memorabilia and everything for that baby. But what it's supposed to do is just a snapshot of their growth, milestones, what have you, for the first year. So there's room for quite a few photos. I think there's room for 72-ish photos in here, plus memorabilia. And the basic construction of the page is we've got a magnetic flap here that holds a pocket that's, you know, got a little bit of room to expand because it's not stuck down on one side. And then you flip it over, and on the back, room for photos here and here. So that's what we're working with. And the first thing I have to do is I'm stamping photos. Got to get those done. I've already got a bunch done. And then I think I'll just go through and I'll load as many photos as I can. Or photo mats. I'm not stamping photos. That would be strange. That would be, you know, I guess you could stamp on a photo, but anyway, that's not what I'm doing. So, when you're giving a book to someone who's not tremendously a crafter, it does help to put some photos in. So the paper that I used for the base, the cardstock for the base, is the Color Mates Smooth and Silky in the color Honey. And you can find it at thepapermillstore.com. The paper that the cardstock that I'm stamping on right now, these are actually, I don't know what cardstock it is. I had it 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 mats made for me by a custom invitation company. And it's just whatever cardstock they had. I didn't pay any, you know, for anything fancy. And these help me out a lot because, you know, I put so many photo mats in what I'm doing, particularly 4x6 mats for 4x6 photos. I use this 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 size a lot. So I had them make me 1,000 in white and 1,000 in off-white. And I'm running low on the white. So I'm gonna have to have some more made or stop being lazy and cut my own. This ink is VersaFine and Onyx Black. It's probably my favorite black ink. I love it. It's just so sharp. It does such a great image. The other ink I like for, does it dry quickly? I wouldn't say it dries quickly, but I also wouldn't say it dries slowly. I have ink that dries more slowly. But it doesn't dry particularly quickly because I believe it's a pigment ink and that always takes a little bit more time. I also like the distress inks for inking the edges of things. And I like for stamping in color, I like Fresh Ink. I think they have really fun colors and their ink is a hybrid ink. So it's a nice balance between drying quickly and rich color. So those are the inks I use the most. And this album is decorated with Oh Baby by, or no, Hello Baby by Simple Stories, which I had a paper pad of, but it's also available digitally. So if you're inspired by this project and you have a baby album for a friend coming up, you can get the digital and recreate this. Now, what am I trying to say? What am I trying to say? Oh, yes. If you don't have a photo printer at home that you can print your own 12 by 12, if you don't have the wide format printer you need to print your own 12 by 12 stuff, then you can have it printed by a local print shop. I don't recommend Staples or Kinko's, places like that. You're not going to get as good a quality as you would with going with a local print shop that's going to put a little bit more care into it, and you can check the reviews for your local print shops on, you know, Google, Yelp, those sorts of places, and find a nice quality place. Thank you, Crystal. I'm glad you love the stamp. I've always been very proud of the stamp. You know, I learned a lot designing it about manufacturing as well, but it just makes it so finished, your album so finished. I think makes it obvious for the people you're gifting the album to what to do with it, but it makes it look nice and finished in the meantime while it's waiting for the photos. So it just really, I've always liked that it just makes an album look so finished even when the photos haven't been put in it yet. All right, I'm almost done with my stack here, and then I just have to grab 12 of these horizontal ones and stamp them on both sides because they're going to go in the pockets, I think. Now, when I'm using the Misty, and you can't see it because it's off camera, but the edge of the Misty is hanging off my desk so that I can hook my finger under it and flip it closed so that I'm not picking up and putting down the ink pad and having to get underneath the Misty. So it saves me a lot of time to have the Misty hanging off the edge like this. So this is kind of a pro tip, if you will. If you're mass producing something, say you're making your Christmas cards or whatever, making cards to sell a pack of them or gift a pack of them, then you can, and you're going to be doing the same thing over and over again, have the edge of your Misty hang off your desk by about an inch. And you can just go, go, go. It makes it a very quick process. And then I just keep the ink pad in my right hand, and I use my left hand to move everything around on my desk. I actually think I might have overstamped the ones to go, the horizontal ones. So what I may do is stamp 24 of them actually on the front and the back, and then they can go in the pockets, or I guess I'll just have some left over for another project. What would be the shipping of the stamp to Montreal? Not sure about Montreal. I know to the UK it's around-ish $10, so probably under 10. But if you email sales@kathrynscraps.com, just ask my husband, he does all the shipping, ask him about how much to go to Montreal, or we charge in the shop. We took we put all the shipping tables into our shop from the USPS. So if you put it in your cart, it'll show you the exact shipping to wherever it is that you live. The only one that's a little bit weird is, you know, there are some countries that are coded a little bit differently for different reasons, but I don't think anyone watching right now lives in any of those countries, so. All right, well, I know that I need at least 12 horizontal ones, so let's let that sit for now, and let's see how we do. Let's see how we do. All right. Oh, I guess I should. Well, no, I'm going to do the other 12. I'm just going to count this stack and make sure I have 12. I'm going to set 12 aside that don't need to be on both sides. So 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3. Okay, so there's 12 that are going to get glued directly to the base. So the remaining ones I can just flip over and double stamp them all, and they'll go in the pockets. I'm out of stock. The one with the U should be in stock if you're okay with the Commonwealth spelling of the word favorite, because I know we have plenty of favorites spelled Favorite. But yeah, we were running low. I knew we were running very low on the American English spelling, which is without the U, like you see here. But we do have plenty of the Commonwealth English spelling with the U. So we're now out of stock of favorite, it looks like. But we're not out of stock of favorite. So if you're okay with favorite, we do still have some of those, I think. And if they're showing out of stock, just email Mr. Lifeguard at sales@kathrynscraps.com, because I know we've got more of those. And then I have to figure out if I want to order more or if I want to change the stamp, because it's going to. I contacted the stamp company about doing a rerun on my order, and they lost our master sheet. So we would have to start over with the whole process with them. So it's going to be the same if I redesign it or if I just run the same one again. So I'm thinking about it. Haven't decided yet what I'm going to do. But I guess I should figure it out since we are now out of stock. Well, Jill, that's what I was kind of thinking. You know, I'm trying to think of a way that it can have the same vibes, but also, you know, because Jill said maybe do an awesome moment here stamp. Yeah, I'm trying to think of a way that it could be, you know, because the original idea behind the favorite photo stamp was that you could use it for this purpose, but you could also use it when just in your crafting to highlight a favorite photo. So, you know, Jill's idea of having an awesome moment stamp kind of fits with that what was the goal of this stamp was that it could be used for something other than saying photo goes here, you know, so that you could get double usage out of the stamp. So I've got some ideas I'm working on. We'll see what materializes, but I thought I would have more time, but we're out of the stamp, so I need to just make a decision. I need to fish or cut bait, as they say. All right. So let's clean all the stamps here, get everybody clean. Wish you were here. Oops, there you are. All right, so I'm going to put the Misty away, and we're going to walk through how I see the pages. All right, so are these are the double-sided ones, which I appear to have stamped some of them upside down. I don't know. Okay. Well, I have had a request to do a favorite photo stamp that uses a vintage camera. So that's also something that's under consideration. Something like a more vintage font and a more vintage camera for more vintage to blend better with vintage paper collections. So there's a lot that's in consideration. So that's why I said, like, I just need to make a decision, but you know, decisions are hard. So what are you gonna do? All right, now let's get the book and talk about where I see everything going. So these vertical ones I see going here on this flap, and then we can just put you know, paper strips here and here on the flaps. So, you know, putting it like here and here, and then putting the pattern paper. So that's my thought. So that there would be two photos just on this flap right here. And then the favorite photo, the horizontal, the landscape, it would go here, and then we can put journaling above and below is kind of what I was thinking. Journaling strips. So yeah. So that's the idea. And then here on the front to put one back here. All right. And then to put like a card on the front of it, a 4x6 card or something, so that it, like from the collection, because I know I've got to have a bunch of 4x6 cards, because Simple Stories collections come with a lot of 4x6 cards. So let me just see if I have 12 vertical 4x6 cards, or if they're all horizontal and I'm kind of in trouble. Oh, good. So they're all horizontal. So that's, you know, cool, I guess. Let me just, I'm going to just double check and see if they're all, yeah, they are all horizontal. And I think they're all horizontal because they had to use so many sheets to do 1 through 12 that they just didn't make any portrait 4x6 cards. They only have landscape 6x4 cards. So the way we get around that is we'd have to use pattern paper and then put, like, you know, mat the portrait 3x4 cards on it, which is totally doable. We can totally do that. So we're gonna need to 5x7 pinwheel a bunch of stuff. All right, so okay, all right, okay. So let's pull out the paper. Thanks for making this harder, Simple Stories. But we do have paper like this. We can use on the flaps. Like, yeah, so not all of the flaps maybe will have to be, okay, we'll just see. All right, so I think I need to pick a step 1. And step 1, I think, will be, let's put down, when you're mass producing an album, you want to do the same thing over and over and over again, right? Like, that's what makes it easy. And so the thing that I think would be easiest would be to do this page, because we're going to do journaling, photo, journaling. So I just need to do the math. All right, I just need to do the math. So I have a missed call, whatever, from a number I don't recognize. So no thanks. All right, so we're going to get the fraction calculator. Almost threw my phone. Okay, so we know the page is 8 inches. And we know we're subtracting from that 4 1/4. And the reason we're subtracting 4 1/4 is because that's the photo mat size. So that leaves us with 3 3/4 to work with. Then we know we have 1/8, 1/8, 1/8, 1/8. If we want to have a line of yellow in between each of those 3 elements, we need 4 1/8 strips. So that's 4/8 basically. So we're going to subtract another 4/8. No, wrong. How do I go back? Well, let's just do this. We'll just add 4 back to it. Okay, I fixed it. Okay, so we're going to subtract from 3 3/4, 4/8. So that's 3 1/4 left. Now that 3 1/4 gets divided in 2, and that'll tell us how tall each of the journaling strips should be. So we just divide that by 2. And it's 1 5/8. It's always something annoying. It's always something annoying. So we need 6 1/4 by 1 5/8 strips of our journaling paper. All right. So let's go to Journaling Basics and pick a journaling paper that will look cute with this babies. With babies. Cute with babies. All right. So now I don't want to use the yellow or the black or anything super heavy like that. And the paper collection isn't overly vintage, so I don't know that I want to go with an overly vintage paper. I don't know if I want the red lines though. So I'm going to have to think about how I want to do. I guess the red lines could be okay. It's just that red is very strong compared to the rest of. I'm going to stick a little scrap here so I know I'm thinking about that page. This one. We could do the gray, This soft gray might be the answer. Or the blue even. Let's do the gray. I'll just make a decision. We're gonna go with this. All right. All right. Good job. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna cut those cards off the bottom. And this collection is called Journaling Basics. It's a digital collection that's only journaling sheets. And you can get it from paperphenomenon.com. And I am not 100% sure, but I think this one can be printed in 8.5 by 11. These papers I print with, I printed with a koala paper, which is a kind of lower quality photo paper because of how thin it is. I kind of like it because it doesn't make the books so thick as if you print it on cardstock. However, you have to be careful if you order koala paper because it comes in multiple thicknesses, and some of them are very, very thick. Very, very thick. So, kind of just watch what you're getting. That being said, okay, so 6 1/4 is the thickness that we're going for here. I'm gonna just straighten the paper a little bit. Because I'm trying not to cut. All right, there we go. I just want to make sure that my dots are straight when I cut it. Oh, yeah, that's true. Paper Phenomenon is having a 50% off sale right now. So if you have not purchased Journaling Basics yet, or any of the paper collections that you've been interested in digitally, now's a good time to do it. I'm gonna run, koala paper is very inexpensive compared to like Epson paper, or Canon paper, HP print paper, or Red River paper, which is another popular paper for printing printing your stuff at home. And it's not, code is Black Friday Sale 2019 at paperphenomenon.com. I recommend you at least pick up Journaling Basics. Because it's so useful to have all these journaling options. And Journaling Basics is such a versatile collection. There's stuff that you can use for a chalkboard look. There's designs you can use for a vintage collection. There's designs you can use for a modern, clean collection. So, you know, just whatever your style of crafting is, there's something there for you. All right, so 1 5/8 is what these all need to be. So I'm just gonna cut them with my Fiskars trimmer. The reason I taped them all beforehand is so they'd at least have tape on 2 sides. And I need 24 of these, so I may have to print another sheet of this. We'll see if I get lucky. And I don't have to, but I mean, I think just if I were to do the math in my head, I would need to print a couple more. Now, when I originally printed this collection, I printed these papers at 12 3/4, I believe is what I printed them at. So I will be able to get 2 across. Probably, hopefully. Nope, I guess I just didn't do that. So whatever, I thought I did. Ugh, I'm so annoying. So I will have to print more. So what I'm gonna do, these are 6 1/4. I'm gonna go print it, and then I'll come back. We're working on the baby album. Judy, welcome. All right, so I'm gonna go into my digital paper folder where I keep everything, which is, and then what is this? Is Journaling Basics. Journaling Basics ready to print. I just wish I knew what this one was called. So, I need to change the view maybe so they look like photos. Yeah, I think that's what I need. Large icons. That's right. There we go. That'll help. And I just have to hope for the best with some of these. Because it's hard to see, even with the extra large icons, it's hard to see which ones are which. This is not a fault of the paper, it's just because they're thin lines, so it's not always easy to tell which one's the light gray and which one's the light blue when I'm trying to print the same one again. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open all of them and try and find the one as quickly as possible. I mean, while those are opening, let me wake up the printer and put some paper in it. Wake up, printer. You are needed. You are needed. Koala photo paper. Is this double-sided? That's double-sided. I only need single-sided. I should probably print 2, huh? Just so I know I have enough. Someone who's good at math, tell me if I need to print 2 or 3. 2. So I can get 6-ish out of a sheet. I need 24. I'm going to print 3 just to be on the safe side. I'd rather have an extra one than have to come print again. All right, so got my paper ready. Now I just need to find the gray dots. Finding the gray dots. I used the gray dots, right? Yeah. I found them. All right, so now I'm going to print 3 of these. Print. Print 3 copies. Print. All right. Well, I need 4 total, so I need to print 3 because I already am cutting up 1. So how is my mom's recovery going? I think she's doing very well this time around, now that she's gotten everything sorted out with feeling sick. And that was just because she was taking her medication in the hospital for the pain, and you know, she's everyone in my family's just like really got a problem with narcotics and anesthesia and stuff, and we're just like, it's like the end of the world. So you're 80. Yeah, so unless you have some, some friend who needs one, you're probably on the safe side. All right. So now I'm gonna go and keep going. 1 5/8. 1 5/8 is what we're making all of these. All right. So I'm going to set this aside while these print. Let's go ahead and just ink all the edges. We're using brushed corduroy in this album, so I'm going to ink all the edges. And so this is assembly line crafting, and this is part of a series. The series is available in the archives and on my YouTube channel, so it's going to be in both places. And we're doing a 6x8 baby album. Now, of course, this doesn't have to be a baby album. This album structure you could use for anything. I'm making it for a friend who's having a baby in December, so I'm actually ahead of the game. But we're, we're working on decluttering and trying to find things to give away to charity. And, she and I had been chatting about that. And she said if I found a wallet, her wallet that she got from the Goodwill years ago is falling apart. Could I send her the wallet? She would pay for shipping. And so what I am going to do is I got a wallet and a purse I'm going to send her. And her birthday, her 40th birthday is in December. So, and I'm going to put 100, I asked her if there was anything she wanted to get herself, that she hasn't gotten herself, because she's buying stuff for her family because she has quite a few kids. And she said new shoes for the fall. So what I'm going to do is, in the wallet, I'm going to put a gift card for the shoes, and that'll be her birthday gift. And then the wallet and the purse are just, because I don't need them. And then, so I'm going to send those, and then I'm also going to send the album for the baby who's also born in December, she's not born yet. She's not, but I don't know if it's a she either. My friend is due in December. I don't know what kind of baby she's having. Well, that sounded weird. She's having a human baby? That's the kind of baby she's having? I don't know what the baby's gender is. I don't know if she's having a boy or a girl. She's having a cat, everyone. She's having a cat. It might be a cat. We don't know. It could be a turtle. It sounded so funny. It did. I don't know what kind of baby she's having. The human kind, Kathryn? What on earth? All right, so I've got these all inked, and now I'm gonna start taping them and putting them in the books. I wonder if ATG would be fine. You know what? I think ATG will be fine. Especially because the two shorter sides, which is where we might have an issue with the ATG, are, you know, the corners have the tape on them. Because the corners have, all right, so we're putting them, you know, 1/8 of an inch down from the top. So, yeah, so she's going to get an early birthday present. But, and then she'll have the baby present, which will be for the baby. And then she'll just have a purse, because I don't need it. Isn't this cardstock great? It's the honey color from, it's so good for baby, too. Especially the human kind. It's honey from Colormates. But it's a great color, so warm. It's really beautiful. Buttery. Another win for the colored base department. The perfect color for human babies. Yeah, exactly. And then I'm going to not ink the edges of the photo mat, I think, to keep it crisp. And then the reason I did the top and the bottom is because that way I don't have to measure where this one goes. I can just eyeball it and it'll look close enough. Priya says, every time I see a pregnant woman from now on, I'm going to wonder what kind of baby she's having. You know, you never know. You never know until you have the baby what kind it's going to be. So you never know. You never know. If this is the first Kathryn Scraps video you've ever seen, welcome. I'd like to say this is as weird as it gets, but I don't think it's as weird as it gets by a long shot. So you're still welcome. No, stop it. Why do you think you have a... Ugh, the paper wasn't loaded deep enough. Ugh, you have so many problems. You know that? You don't need to be so persnickety. Sandra just posted all of the animal emojis. It's just like examples of what types of babies you could have. It could be a dog, it could be a cat, it could be a fox, it could be a tiger, it Could be a frog. You don't know. You just don't know. Frog babies are easier. They're small. That's true. That's true. They don't need as much stuff either. You just get them a little tank and they'll be fine. Oh, yes. Shout out to Priya for her beautiful Twice the Fun album. Priya entered her the hashtag Glitter Party 2019 contest to win a Rotatrim or $200. Details in the video description on that and how you can enter. With a beautiful Twice the Fun album, and she had a paper collection with a lot of large sentiments. Some of them, you know, looked like they would have taken an entire 12 by 12 page. And the album is posted in the Kathryn Scraps Facebook group, which is also linked below. So in this video's description, and if you are watching on mobile and you see the chat instead of the video description, right under the window where the video is, there's like an arrow. You can switch off the chat to the video description and see these links. All right, 2 pages down. We shall keep going. Yay, welcome. Yes, we have a Facebook group. There's a Glitter Gang Facebook group, and we're doing a now through November 24th, we are doing a contest to win a Rotatrim or $200. So Twice the Fun is a great album to use any paper packs like that where there's just like really huge images that you can't figure out how to cut up, because Twice the Fun has, for starters, it's huge already. It's 10 by 10 itself. But then it also has a lot of spaces that you can put those. But because it's so interactive and it has so many flips and flaps, you know, there's room to put those large things and still have room for tons and tons of photos. And then this paper is from Paper Phenomenon Journaling Basics, which is 50% off right now. So if you haven't picked it up yet, now's a good time. Paperphenomenon.com, code Black Friday 2019. All right. And we'll keep going. All right, so all 3 of my sheets are now printed, so we'll be able to cut those up and use them as needed. Priya is asking, I see in the archives you have an acrylic album. Have you done an acetate album? No, I have an album that has hybrid chipboard and I believe acetate pages, the Frosty Window. But it's also possible Frosty Window is hybrid acetate or hybrid acrylic and chipboard. Oh, good. This is good. What on earth? Here we go. Here we go. This album is a twist on my Easy 6x8 album. By the way, in the archives there are multiple albums that are called the Easy 6x8 album, so you know, this is one of them. This is a twist on one of them. And all of the directions for this one, how to make it, are all on YouTube as part of the baby album series. Yeah, so every time I change the title of the stream, it resets all of my options. So the title probably says half the fun right now. It's my guess. Every time I change the title of the stream, it resets the entire stream and I have to like redo all the settings. So what I've been doing is I've just been leaving it on whatever the weekly series is and then not changing it for the surprise shows. And probably at some point I'll like get myself organized where that won't like completely destroy my world, but like I am not at that point at the moment where I can switch the title and redo everything pretty quickly and easily. So YouTube is awesome, of course, awesome, amazing, wonderful. But you know, there are some little foibles of it that I'm going to skip this page. We'll come back to it. Okay, note to self, open that thing because you won't remember otherwise. You're taking a vacation in November to make twice the fun? Priya said she worked on it for 3 hours a day for 3 weeks. So 63 hours? That's a huge album, but that's really not that bad. I didn't put tape on this one. But yeah, Twice the Fun is a lot of fun, especially if you do it the theme park version. By the way, if you've been interested in doing it and you want to recreate the theme park one that I did, those papers, the Say Cheese papers from Simple Stories, are what I used, and those are also available digitally. So, you know, so that those are totally an option open to you if you do have a theme park trip you want to record, but you can't get those papers now because they're not sold anymore. You can get them digitally. And again, if you don't have the kind of printer you need to print digital paper and you don't have any interest in getting one, you can always have a paper collection. I printed this on 13 by 19. On 13 by 19. But I printed it in 12 by 12 on 13 by 19. Oh, this one? The baby one or the Journaling Basics? Journaling Basics I printed it and I was fine. The baby one I had in my stash. This is the actual one that Simple Stories printed. Vacation November 9th through 26th. You can do it. You can do it. It took me a long time to decorate. I mean, I think I've got months and months and months of videos on that one. Because I started it on Black Friday and I finished it... Not Black Friday. I started on National Scrapbook Day. That one took a long time. That one took a long time. But... Oh, you have the Crafter's printer from HSN. Not sure if it's the printer or... I bought the koala paper on Amazon. Amazon appears to be sold out of koala paper right now. Thank you, Koala, for not restocking your stuff. So the koala paper, hopefully it'll come back in. I did have a lot of embellishments in that book. I kind of went crazy. But that's, you know, it is what it is. Okay, so it looks like I'm doing the blue. I did the blue, and now I have the gray. So whatever, it's fine. She's not going to notice that it slightly switches colors. She's not. It's fine. But the koala paper, it has a tendency to make things look a little blue. But in terms of like the quality, it's fine. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't make anything look blurry. The best results I got were using Epson paper, which makes sense because I have an Epson printer. So sometimes just making sure you're using... Exactly. Sandra says, but I'll notice. Yes, when you make a mistake like that, you know the person you're giving it to isn't going to notice. But of course, you're like, why am I so bad at crafting? All right. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the tape just down the edges so that I know that the corners will be well stuck down. And then we'll keep going. So when you're doing an assembly line book like this, you know, I always recommend, because it can get a bit tedious, that you just put on favorite Netflix, favorite podcast, book on tape, whatever, you know, so that you have something to that's just mildly distracting. You don't want something totally engrossing. Just something mildly distracting. Because if you get something that's too interesting, then you stop crafting to stare at it or to concentrate on it. So that's why I say kind of like your old favorites, like that you've already watched a bunch of times, so it doesn't, you know, it doesn't distract you too much. All right, so these are 6 1/4 inch wide, and then we're going to cut them 1 5/8. And again, this entire series is on YouTube. So, and you do not have to style it baby's first year if you don't want to. You could use it for anything. And it makes a great gift because it's very easy for the person you're giving it to see how to fill it. So it's got very obvious places for photos, journaling, that sort of thing. I mean, you can use it for yourself too. You don't have to gift it. But this time of year, I think people are kind of looking for albums that can be gifted. So this is one that works for that for sure. Okay. So I've cut my next batch, and then I'm just going to keep going. Ow, I just scratched myself. Maybe I should cut my claws. I was thinking after Halloween I might cut back the claws, make them shorter. I don't know. We shall see. So then I'm going to ink. All right, the printer just put itself to sleep. But yeah, so Glitter Party 2019 is ends November 24th, and it's just so great to see everyone's projects. And I know that Pat and Gretchen were together, or maybe they still are, but they definitely were. And it sounded like they were getting caught up on a lot of projects. So hopefully we'll see them posting soon. The claws. See, human babies. Humans do have babies other than human babies. That's right. I'm part tiger, part tigress. That's where my claws come from. My mom, this is from her side of the family. You know, she always has had very strong and very flexible nails, and that's a good combination too. So she's always had the ability to easily grow her nails out, and I inherited that from her. Now my sister did not, so she must have gotten my dad's side of the family's nails, because you know, she doesn't have long nail beds like my mom and I do. And on top of that, her nails are pretty easily cracked and stuff. So I feel bad, but you know, it's not like it's a huge loss in her life, because she can just get acrylics. But oh, see, you too. Yeah, I think it does run. It does run in families, I believe. So yeah, I definitely inherited my mom's nail genes. But so I usually have my own nails, and with the exception of like some kind of real catastrophic break, I'll have my own nails. But if I have a really, really bad break and I don't want to cut all the other nails back, I may put an acrylic on the broken one for a while. But usually what happens is if I just get a crack, I just put a silk wrap on it and then let it grow out on its own without getting an acrylic. Right now I have a silk wrap on this one and this one. These are the two nails I break the most often. I get cracks in them all the time, and it's, you know, it's life, because I'm right-handed. So those are the two that are most likely to get a crack. But when you go bumping into the wall and breaking a nail bed, that's when you get an acrylic. Exactly. So earlier I did have that horrible break where I broke the nail bed. Ugh. I don't recommend it on my middle finger, this one, because I walked into a wall trying to go to the bathroom without turning on the light at night. So I didn't wake up my husband, but I woke him up anyway, screaming bloody murder. So all right, so this page is 8 inches. These are 1 5/8, and then of course the photo mats are 4 1/4 by, and everything is 6 1/4 inches wide. So the pages are 6.5 by 8. Yes, he handled himself well once he was awakened by high pitched screaming. So tiny cat hairs, great. So yeah, but yep, it's just, you know, we're doing the same thing over and over again because every page is the same. When you're making a book like this, especially for a baby, it really helps to make every page the same, so the person you're giving it to isn't having to figure out what's going on with each page. She just knows what she's supposed to do each month, you know. No Tiny today, although the Tiny and Kitty are in the garage today, chilling. Well, Kitty hung out with me all day yesterday, and Tiny stomped all over me last night. So I guess they've had enough personal time. So yesterday I went through all my books and decided which ones I could live without, which of course the answer is all of them, but you know, I mean, I wasn't ready to fully commit to having no books. I took a picture of every single one that I put in the donate pile, so that I wouldn't have anxiety about giving books away. That way I thought, you know, if you want to go through the list down the road and buy digital copies of ones you want to reread, you know what everything was. And then that really helped. I was able to let go of a lot without getting stressed out about it. Books are an area where I have trouble. You know, I don't really struggle with clothes, but books I do. There's always a, you know, level of guilt about giving away knowledge, you know. But then I thought, well, at least it's going, you know. Oh wait, did I ink these? Oh, I inked all of them. Wow, see, I was smart about that. You know, saying you can pass that on to someone who might not be able to read this otherwise, whatever. So get over yourself. You can always get a digital copy for your Kindle if you need it. So I mostly kept books where the actual physical book has some kind of additional sentimental value over the work itself. So like some first editions I kept, things that were gifted to me where the gifting of it was part of the experience of reading it. Things like that. And Mr. Lifeguard said, he came by and he's like, so if you're keeping things of sentimental value, why is the complete works of Aristotle still here? And I said, I just cannot let go of the complete works of Aristotle because that book tortured me in college. But like, because that was part of my intro to philosophy class. We read most of it. And the thing is, even though Aristotle's not exactly what I would call a wild ride, he really does help you learn how to think. Which, you know, again, I know you guys come here for these late-breaking, earth-shattering announcements, like, turns out Salman Rushdie is a pretty good writer. That's another one of those that I know you've probably been blown away by. So Aristotle, who's, you know, whatever, considered one of the greatest thinkers of Western civilization, turns out he can teach you how to think. I know. These are the revelations you come here for. These are the revelations you come here for. You have an autographed copy of Gone with the Wind that you sent to the Historical Society. That's good. And what, yeah, those and the talks about what kinds of babies people can have. Yeah, that's why you're here. That's why you're here. For my insights. For my insights. So I kept my college copy of Crime and Punishment because that class was what made me interested in Russian literature for the first time, even though I don't think it was a Russian literature class. I don't think I would have. I think it was just like English 101 or something. But I remember, I'll tell you a funny story. So, well, I don't know if you'll find it funny. I will tell you a story. But my philosophy, introduction to philosophy or introduction to philosophical thought or whatever it was, wherever we read Aristotle, was taught seminar style, which is one of, what that means is you read a book, and then instead of explaining it to you, your professor just sits there and asks you questions that are supposed to make you like come to some deeper understanding of the thing through discussing it, right? And I generally did not love seminar style teaching in college, generally, because I didn't pay all that money to go to college so that me and some other 20-year-olds could like waffle on about these great works of humankind, when we have very little understanding of it whatsoever, right? So I, in general, just found seminar very irritating. Very irritating. And my understanding now is that the professor I had is not particularly good at that style. So I had a poor seminar experience, but it's just kind of like, well, that, I mean, whatever. It's what I do not care what I think about this stuff, right? But anyway, so I have some funny stories from this seminar because of things that happened. All right. But one of them that always sticks out in my mind is we were reading maybe physics, Aristotle's physics. And whatever it was that we were reading, Aristotle poses the question as to whether or not it's better to know how to build a bridge, or whether or not it's better to know the geometric principles and proofs behind bridge building. So this is a question he asks. Now, Aristotle, the way that his writing goes is he asks a question, he argues both sides of it, and then he comes to a conclusion. And when he says better, what he means is like the best good. So a lot of times he'll come to a conclusion that XYZ thing is better, but it's not practical. So the most practical thing, so it's the best thing, but the most practical thing is this, right? And so that's a common conclusion that he has. So for example, in politics, he comes to the conclusion that the best form of government would be a totalitarian dictatorship where the person in charge was an enlightened philosopher who always made the right choices. And it's like, I guess, except that he says that's totally impractical. So then he says, so the most practical form of government in terms of the one that should be implemented would be, and that's where the republic comes from. He has the republic with the checks and balances where there's 3 branches of government. They all have the same amount of power. They can all veto each other. So all 3 of them have to be in agreement for anything to get done. One group is rich people, one group is poor people, and one group is educated people. So philosophers, again, of course. And so that's what he thinks is most practical. So, all right. So in this, he says, back to the bridge. So he says that, very clearly that it's better to know how the math works than it is to know how to build a bridge, but it's definitely more practical and more useful to know how to build a bridge. All right. And he just states it right out somewhere in the end, right? In the end of it. So we've read enough Aristotle by this point that I know that's pretty much how Aristotle works, right? So we get in there and our professor asks whether it's better to know the answer to Parmenides' problem or whether it's better to know how to make penicillin. And the answer, of course, the correct answer is it's better to know the answer to Parmenides' problem, which is a philosophical problem that has no answer, by the way. So were you to know the answer to it, you would be the greatest philosopher of all time. Parmenides' problem is the problem of the unmoved mover, which is that, if there's a creator who created the creator, so that's Parmenides' problem. So I say, remember this is a seminar, we're supposed to have a discussion. So I say it would be better to know the answer to Parmenides' problem. And so the professor says, well, why is that? And I say, because on page 323, paragraph 2 of this book, Aristotle says it's better to know Pythagoras' theorem than how to build a bridge. So I can extrapolate from that he considers knowledge of the theory of why everything works better than the practical application of that theory. And this is the first 2 minutes of class, and he says, well, Miss Krieger, we're not there yet, so let's not jump ahead. And I'm like, all right, fine. So I guess I'll say I think it's better to know the answer to Parmenides' problem than it is to make penicillin, because I'm allergic to penicillin, and penicillin is useless. So, and then someone at the table, no joke, almost burst into tears because penicillin saved their baby brother's life when they were in the hospital when they were born or something. And so obviously it's the most important thing that ever happened. And I was like, this is why seminar is stupid. So there you go. That's just, So there you have it. Now you know that it's better to know how to make we've talked about this before, but it's like, well, I mean, you have to remember college students are young, I guess. So, I mean, their face was completely red, their voice was shaking, and I was just like, ugh. So I just, you know, yay. But I guess crying. There's no crying in philosophy. All right, so I need 4 of these because I have this page, which is 12, and then I have the one that I skipped. So I only need 4 more. 1, 2. If you cry in philosophy, the Velociraptor will get you, which is another invention of this class. Or I think it was originally a Velocicrafter, but as a portmanteau of philosophy and crafting. But we decided that sounded like a dinosaur, so it's now the Velociraptor, which is a dinosaur that chases you around and wants to talk about philosophy. Just imagine what a different movie Jurassic Park would be if they had Velocicrafters and not Velocicrafters or Velociraptors. You know, Sam Neill would be like running away and they'd be like, Sam, I just want to talk to you about the unmoved mover. What are your thoughts? Only the Glitter Gang would go watch Velociraptors. Velociraptors. I'm not sure even the Glitter Gang would watch that movie. But yeah, so that was why I didn't appreciate seminars in college. Because I wanted someone smarter than me to bring me insight into a thing that I might have missed because I was an 18-year-old reading it. You know? Is that so much to ask? I am still thinking about that class. I mean, that's why I kept the complete works of Aristotle. Aristotle's not totally useless. I mean, Aristotle has a lot of problems, but Aristotle's not completely useless. But, you know, what I've retained from that class is just what I read. You know, it's not like I felt like I got any additional. I remember another one where when we were reading ethics, when we read the ethics, Aristotle's ethics, and the professor asked us who the most ethical, like to name the most ethical person in literature or something like that. And like no one could come up with anything good. And so I finally suggested Mr. Darcy just because I knew that the professor was a huge Jane Austen fan, but that he obviously was waiting for someone to say Mr. Knightley. Because by then I had kind of figured out the professor's, you know, way of thinking. Because we read ethics a lot later on than we read physics. But, so I just really went 12 rounds defending Mr. Darcy as the most ethical person in literature. And then finally he said, oh, Miss Krieger, who is it really? You're in love with Mr. Darcy too much. And I said, all right, it's Mr. Knightley. Can we just like learn something today? Is that too much to ask? Yes? Okay, cool. What was another? Oh, so we had another seminar class called Scientific Thought, which is the philosophy of science. Oh, we had to read Newton's Principia Mathematica, which is horrible. Horrible. That's the book where he basically invents calculus. Ugh. Ugh. but again, it doesn't really teach you calculus so much as the proofs for why calculus works, just like that Euclidean geometry class I took. I took a lot of philosophy of math and philosophy of science instead of taking math and science. I probably made it worse on myself. I probably should have just taken like Geometry 101. All right, we did it. All right, we just need to find page 1 now. All right, so we've done this page. So on all of them, that page is finished, ready to go. Just flipping through to make sure I did actually do all of them. And yes, it looks like I did do all of them. So that's completely done. All right, so to do that, you'll need, if you're following the book from exactly, you'll need 12 6 1/4 by 4 1/4 photo mats, and you'll need 24 6 1/4 by 1 5/8 inch journaling spots, and that will give you these pages. So we need to complete the book. We need 36 of these, which are the 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. And then I also have 24 of these, which are going to go 2 in each pocket, just so the person I'm giving it to gets the idea that you put stuff in the pockets. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a recording break now, and we'll do another part today. And the next part will be how we're going to do these flaps, and we'll go through and do these flaps. So I will be back in the next part with how you would assembly line these flaps right here. All right, so thanks so much for watching. Check the video description for any information that you might need on how to put this book together, how to find links to tools, if you want to join the glitter party or the group. All of that is linked in the video description. Bye now, and thanks for watching.